we're going to talk to, I think this might be a fake name. I just kind of doubt that your name is Unicorn, but Unicorn in Armenia. Unicorn, you are on the line with Jimmy and Javon.
Unicorn. Hello. Do you hear me?
Hello. Yep, sure do. How are you?
Thank you so very much, Jimmy and Jovan. Honestly, this is just a nickname, not a fake name, because
hey, are we on speaker? It sounds like you're far away, which is already making it harder to understand you.
Is it better now?
Perhaps. We'll find out. All right, go ahead. What were you saying?
Okay. Sorry for my bad connection, probably. I was just saying Unicorn is not a fake name. It's just a nickname, and I'm trying to protect my identity because my nationality is not Armenian. I moved to Armenia for the sake of my life, hopefully to save my life, and that's it.
Okay, great. So what is the point you wanted to make about us and Christian nationalism? It looks like in the notes, I'll let you state it for yourself.
Okay, honestly, I don't have any problem with accepting the fact that Christian nationalism is destroying America, but I'm afraid there's a more urgent matter that you people are closing your eyes on, and that is about Islam and Muslims.
Great. And how are we closing our eyes on Islam and Muslims?
Nationalism is because how I found you so supportive about Gaza and technically Muslim community.
Okay, so to be clear, real quick, hang on, to be clear, you're saying we are pro-Muslim nationalism because we are against the genocide of Palestinian people by a Jewish nationalist state. Therefore, we support Muslim nationalism. That would have to be your position to have
happening unintentionally.
Excuse me, what?
Maybe this is not your. Maybe it's happening unintentionally. But,
no. You need to verify whether that's your position because there is no way to otherwise support it. We have opposition to the Palestinians being genocided, regardless of if they're Muslim, regardless of what their identity is, regardless of what their beliefs are. Children being starved, a people being murdered by a Jewish nationalist state would be the thing that we are opposed to. And so what is wrong with that opposition, and how does it support Muslim nationalism?
How to put it? First, I think that's some sort of exaggeration. Genocide on Gaza is not something is actually happening. This is the consequence of their own radical regime.
Your position then currently is based upon whether or not, before we get into if it is the case, Unicorn, if it is the case that we are correct and there is a genocide happening in Gaza, would you then say your entire point is wrong?
Jimmy, how is it genocide? Because
Unicorn, we will get to that after. Unicorn, stop. We will get to that after. I asked you a specific question on purpose, and you're just ignoring it. And I just said, before we get into whether or not it's genocide, will you admit that if it is genocide, hypothetically, let's say we find out that you agree even, it is genocide, then would our position still be wrong to you, or would it be correct?
No, if it's a genocide, your position probably is correct.
Okay, great. So now it's just not about, are we supporting Christian nationalism? It's not about any of that. The question really is there a genocide happening in Gaza? Now, Unicorn, you believe there is not. We believe there is. There is a through line from the open air prison in the apartheid state and the initial occupation to now. And there are definitions and agencies which monitor for genocide and declare when a thing is genocide. And even the agencies in Israel, except for the ones that are literally ran by Israel itself, have all agreed that it is genocide. So what evidence do you have that the nonchalant, non-caring refusal of aid, cause of famine, and death of tens of thousands of kids, just the confirmed ones we so far have, it is likely going to skyrocket once we start finding out how many people died in the rubble, once people try to start resettling back at their homes and they realize how many people are missing. So the tens of thousands of children dead, for example, what is the evidence you have that counters the overwhelming number of agencies who have declared that it is a genocide in Gaza?
Maybe I can give you two arguments. First, I don't think Israel is against their DNA and genetics. So when they are against their genetics, it is technically is going to consider as genocide. That's my understanding.
Okay, your understanding.
Anyone has a problem with their ethnicity.
Unicorn, you're wrong about that. It doesn't need to be like for genetic reasons. A genocide can be for a litany of reasons. Nationality can play a part in it. Religion can play a part in it. Like genetics is not like the whole picture.
It's also a relatively new branch of science. The number of people who hated Jews in the 30s weren't on the basis of what they understood was a genetic difference, despite the fact that they were engaging in eugenics and the like. It was a lot of those are the people I hate. And you can listen to your least radical IDF soldier still calls them like animals and says that even the children are terrorists. So you don't have to have them sitting there going like, I have an understanding of a scientific concept. They hate Palestinians. And by the way, you can even see this reflected when you're trying to make it's not a genetic thing. You can see this reflected in the dramatically different way that even Arab Jews in Israel are treated, because it is much more poorly than the other people. And you can see how they treat the people as they occupy the West Bank as well. Like you're sitting here trying to go, here's an understanding of what a genocide is. Can I get so myopic about it and say, well, I don't consider it, unless they're literally pointing to which chromosomes they hate, a genocide? That's an absurd standard.
And I just want to point out that like we're not basing whether it's a genocide off of even I'm not even basing it off of just like what I've seen in the news and on the ground. Like there are 5 specific criteria. When the UN just confirmed it was a genocide like a month ago, but they looked for 5 specific criteria of genocide, and they determined through independent review that Israel's doing 4 of those 5 things. So I don't even know how we can still have the conversation at that point.
Don't get me wrong, I was calling it a genocide long before a lot of these groups did, but they finally caught up, and now we have all of the data to support it.
Okay, consider me convinced about that matter.
Great.
But at the same time, I'm not. Thank you. Thank you for the explanation.
Sure. Do you still think that we support Muslim nationalism?
I never claimed you're supporting Muslim nationalism. I'm just, I find it so dangerous supporting any kind of Muslims, because Islam is nothing but radicalism in its roots. And whoever considers themselves as a Muslim technically is supporting that violence against individuality, against minorities like queer people, which I am actually one of them.
Sure.
And this is actually, I know, I say supporting Muslims at any level is actually spending out of our lives and pockets in their favor. And I promise, you have no idea when you free Muslims how.
I'm sorry. I hate to stop you, but
I was letting him let out his own bigoted rope.
I can't listen to the Islamophobia just like off cuff like that. If Unicorn, stop being vague. If you're going to tell us that we can't do something because of X, Y, or Z, don't be vague. Give us specifics. All you're saying is you can't support Muslims because of what bad things will happen. That doesn't tell me anything. I shouldn't eat hot dogs because of what bad things will happen to my body. Who cares?
Excuse me, hang on, Unicorn. Do Jovan, you can respond to this question. Do Jovan or I support that if Muslims move to America, they would be able to, even as a population, vote to impose Muslim favoring laws? As in force Islam on the population?
I didn't understand the question.
Yeah, I'm sure you don't. The answer is no, because we do believe in the constitutional separation of church and state. So even if most of the population of an area, much like most of the population, I don't know about now, but in the past has supported the death penalty, that's not enough good reason, because the death penalty does seem to be unconstitutional. That's not a good enough reason to say the majority wants it. Therefore, nobody here that I know of supports the idea of pure democracy, where it's if most people there accept it. So you are still sitting here and all you have said is Muslims at any level, because if you're a Muslim at any level, you support the oppression of the queers. You seem to be ignoring that there are queer progressive Muslims, but also you're literally talking to people who we're in America. And right now, the biggest threat in America is Christian nationalism. And my ability to do anything for people who are Muslim and are in oppressive Muslim areas is dramatically threatened by the success of not Muslim nationalism, but Christian nationalism. So right now, I have to deal with the threat that has entered my door before I can head over to the next neighborhood and work with theirs, despite the fact that when they do call in or whatever, even if they are a progressive Muslim, I point out how fucking stupid their religion is, how it endorses pedophilia, how it is from the ground up a disgusting, that Muhammad was a disgusting person, that Islam sucks. The other night, I super chatted Justin's stream and asked why he thinks Muslims are always the worst apologists, because they tend to be worse than even Christian, like young earth creationists. They're really bad at it. So you have nothing to point to that says we support Islam, but you're using the word Muslims as in the humans who have Islam, and we can't support them at any level, including apparently supporting that they should not be murdered so that a different religion's nationalism can take over their home.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that all you got? Or should we, are you admitting defeat? What does okay mean here?
Okay, as I can think about what you explain. Right at the moment, I'm not sure about that I can agree with every single part of your argument, but at least I can take my time with thinking about it.
Can you name a value of Islam that's negative that Christianity doesn't also hold?
Maybe not, but Christianity at least has been controlled by so many tools you have in your toolbox, and you're so lucky with that, like Constitution and whatever can put a leash on savagery from Christianity. But unfortunately, in Middle East, we don't have any of those tools, and they simply take lives, Jimmy. They execute people just for being themselves and
is the Middle East more or less progressive than
anything from Islam.
Is the Middle East more or less progressive than it was 50 years ago?
I don't think it's more progressive. I mean, you get to find more progressive individuals, but overall, the whole Middle East is boiling in eagerness for Islam and how they are melted down in their religion and ideology.
what's the solution? And try to avoid the phrase final solution as you answer.
What's the solution? I wish I had one.
Okay, great. I do. It's communicating, debating, and promoting secular constitution, separation of church and state. And on our end is a communication arm using communication to battle bad information, to spread education. And right now, we have a country that is trying to turn in literally like what you're describing over there. They want to execute people that do this. They want to do violence. Great. That's happening in my country right now and not by the Muslims. They are literally trying to take us to a Christian country and argue that this constitution, which you say makes it clear and puts a leash on it all, their argument is that it isn't clear and that we actually are a Christian constitution and we should be adopting more of God's perfect laws for things like marriage. So right now, we have to focus on stopping that and yet we are still, by the way, fighting bad information from Muslims. You are welcome to get as many Muslims as you want to call our shows as possible, and we will continue to make them look very dumb because it really isn't hard, just like Christians. It's really not hard. You are welcome to do that, and we'll continue to do our thing.
Yes,
but you sitting there going, I have no solution, but you guys are supporting Muslim nationalism in some way is ridiculous. And you still have yet to give us an example of how we're doing that.
No, again, I never claimed that you're supporting Muslim nationalism. But
well, you wrote in the notes when you called in on the internet. When you called in on the internet, you wrote your notes before the screener, and the notes you wrote were: if Christian nationalism is destroying America, then the Muslim nationalism destroys the whole world. So, are you ready to stop supporting Muslims?
Yes, because I believe not supporting Muslims is going to control Muslim nationalism at the same time.
So the
result is going to be...
Wait, Unicorn, can you just like point me to an area that isn't a primarily like an Islam-focused country, somewhere new, that they've come in and they've implemented whatever you think they're going to do to ruin the country? Do you have any examples of this happening ever in like the last 10 years?
What was the question again? Sorry, I didn't understand what you mean.
Can you point me
out
within the last 10 years,
Muslim country which is doing what?
Point me to a country that's been taken over by Muslim people who they have changed the laws, changed the culture, done all these things that you think are going to be dangerous and harmful.
Iran. Not within the last decade, but more than 4 decades ago, Muslim radicals taken over my home country.
Whoa. I didn't ask about radicals. There are radicals in if Christian radicals had their way, we would be living under the Westboro Baptist Church. So I'm not talking about radicals.
Islam is about radicalism.
No, it's not.
Islam is about radicalism. There's
not any more than Christianity is, not any more than any other religion is.
I think it's more dangerous. I think it's more radical.
Based on what?
I mean, in your Christian country,
hold on.
You've
based
been
on
lucky
what?
to experience gay marriage, freedom.
The thing that you're not understanding, Unicorn, is you're trying to speak to a current day state of affairs, as opposed to one, either a holistic picture, or two, you are speaking as though Islam is innately, it is by its nature more dangerous, right? But if you look at the Bible also talks about killing infidels. The Bible, Jesus said you have to hate your family to love him. There's happy is he who dashes the non-believing children's head against the rocks, all that kind of, it's a terribly violent book. But right now you're sitting and you're going, okay, well, right now the worst radicalization is amongst Muslims. That must be something about Islam. And you're going to ignore the other factors of like how America and the West have made sure that those countries are kept in poverty, how we have used them to fight wars for us that then came back to bite us in the ass. And then when those same radicals that we relied on and radicalized knocked down a couple of our buildings, well, now we're off on a righteous war to take care of the problem that we created in the first place. It's amazing. It's you're like the capitalists who call in too, and you just want to be like, name me a socialist nation that's ever worked. And we're like, name us a capitalist nation that's ever worked, running on just capitalism. And you're going to completely ignore that there have been great progressive societies, and there are great progressive areas in America right now that where mostly Muslims live, and that it has far more to do with access to education and whether or not you are undermining the existence of a people by forcing them into poverty than it has anything else. And once you get those factors out of the way and you reduce the radicalization by dramatic numbers and you only have small pods left, then you work on the rest. Or you can do it all at the same time, but then you work on basically just making it fucking embarrassing to believe in something as stupid as Islam.
Well, I'm sorry if I did sound ignorant to all you described. I don't have any problems with accepting whatever you just described as truth. Yeah.
It's just weird that if you accept what we're saying is true,
I'm just so afraid.
Keep disagreeing.
I'm just terribly afraid of them. You know, that's the problem. I'm
terribly afraid. I live
even thinking.
I live in a Christian nationalist state. Go ahead, Javon.
You're just xenophobic. I'm not afraid of the everyday Christian. Wait, no, because I'm not afraid of the everyday Christian. The everyday Christian does not bother me, right? I am terrified of what Christian nationalists can do if they take over the country, but I'm not afraid of the everyday Christian like I'm not afraid of the everyday Muslim. You sound afraid of anyone of the Islamic faith.
I mean, he said at any level.
Maybe I have good reasons for that, Jovan. Instead of calling me xenophobic, maybe you can give.
There's never a good reason to hate every single person from a group. There's never a good reason to hate every single person from a group. Yeah.
You're totalitarian.
You know why? When you.
Now he's going to give an anecdote of a specific set of Muslims that were horrible to him, and therefore his hatred of a Muslim child who lives in my neighborhood is justified.
No, I don't claim that. I'm just, you know what's the problem? The problem is that if you talk to a Muslim, to a Muslim individual and tell them, okay, that queer got executed just in the name of God and Islam.
I literally am friends with queer Muslims. I don't know what this argument is.
Just let me finish this sentence. They are going to be okay with that. Maybe they don't commit with doing that crime, that execution. Maybe they claim, oh, we are peaceful, we love humanity, we love human rights. But when it comes to, the Sharia, the law of God happening, they're going to be okay and still accepting with that.
Wait. So freaking. You act like Christianity doesn't have fucked up law. Jimmy already talked about this earlier. What is this argument you're making?
And again, he's still wrong.
Muslims follow Sharia law.
And not every Muslim believes Sharia should be a state law either. You've proven the point that you have an unnuanced belief that all of them feel this way when we know they don't. But even if they did, your support at every level so far has still only been that we oppose the genocide, and you can't point to anything else we're doing that is support of Muslims, because I don't have it. I believe in their freedom to have religion, because that's constitutional. Separation in church and state is as good for secular people as it is religious people. It's actually superior for religious people to live in a secular state than in a religious state, especially if they aren't a part of that religion. So you're just continuing to go, there are bad elements of Islam. And of course there are. Therefore, all Muslims are bad is wrong. And you're trying to find a division where we're supporting something that we're not supporting. And then you're using this language that acts like Islam and these people are less people and more like elements of an infection. And you sound fucking Nazi-esque, my friend. You were upset about xenophobic earlier. Let me tell you, that was the softer word to use.
Did I ever say that we need to kill them?
I asked you for a solution. I asked you for a solution, and you said no, but you did oppose at the beginning of this call, the only thing we've gotten out of you, though you apparently changed, was our opposition to the genocide. That's the only thing we'd had so far. So the only thing that we've heard that you seem to support so far is killing them, because you weren't opposed to what Israel was doing to them. And by the way, in the name of a religious nationalism. So you don't have a solution, but you're sitting here and going, but did I ever say I wanted to kill them? I don't like that you guys have criticized the people killing them, but have I said kill them? Okay, Unicorn, I don't know if there's any reason to continue this on. This just seems like at this point, you've completely lost the plot and you don't yet have an actual real point to make.
Well, he found the plot of some books, like, Mein Kampf and stuff like that.
Sure. Will make you feel better if we say we oppose Islam and we don't think anybody should adhere to Islam or think of it as anything besides, it has a historical context, obviously. Will that make you feel better?
I wish there was a way to limit them without spreading their ideology.
Yeah, maybe like fences
and walls. I don't say kill them. I don't
would you be in favor of like concentrating them into like one specific area? Maybe we can like load them up onto trains and just like, I don't know, we'll build a camp, a fun little sleepaway camp, and we'll just concentrate a bunch of them in that camp. Would that make you feel better?
No, but Islam being illegal can make me feel better.
So you would make Islam illegal?
If it's illegal, what would we do with the people here that are Islamic?
By the way, there's no difference between making a religion illegal and sending them to concentration camps. There is no difference. Not only is there no difference, you actually just advocated for genocide. Because what do you do with people who have broken the law? You imprison them. If you imprison an entire group, are you thinking that genocide only means killing people?
I don't say put them in prison. Jimmy, why are you so into
if it's illegal and they break the law, what do we do? If it's illegal and you catch somebody breaking the law, somebody's praying at an underground mosque, and you've made Islam illegal, what do you do?
I don't know. Carve out some sort of punishment for them, not physically, not
like putting them all in some type of camp or prison, where if we have a bunch of people who practice the same faith all in a prison because it's illegal to be that faith now. Would you want to put give them an armband with a star on it, maybe?
Pay more tax.
Unicorn, just so you know,
make them to pay more tax. How about
Unicorn,
that?
Just so you know, Unicorn, the radical Muslims that you're afraid of believe Christianity and apostasy should be illegal. So how are you better than them?
If it's up to me, I would do that to every religious person.
Got it. So on the basis of your belief, what you believe is true, you believe you should be able to outlaw thought crime for other people. And so the reason why that should happen is in a world where you're in charge. So therefore, if they're in charge, they're also equally justified in doing that to you. It's just a matter of who's in charge.
Well, they do that out of an ideology. I don't.
Great.
Unicorn.
I don't know what you are doing that out of an ideology. What are you talking about? That is an ideology.
You are a radical with terroristic intentions, just so you know, Unicorn.
You want to criminalize an entire religion. You want to punish the people who practice that religious faith. Me and Jimmy don't even like religion, right?
Correct.
You are the one though that wants to criminalize it. Me and Jimmy think the world would be better off without it, but not because we want to force people out of it. We want to educate them to a point where they themselves can deconstruct. You want to make it illegal to practice a faith. You want to do the shit the fucking pilgrims ran away from. You want to make it illegal.
Which will cause a ginormous outbreak of violence. And it's very useful to genocidal people like you, Uniqorn, because then when you force people into those conditions, you make it illegal, you kind of separate them off. There's a sort of apartheid situation. You put them in an open air prison, you restrict their access to other people. Hey, remind me, you were opposed to, you said you agree the genocide in Gaza is bad, but literally the genocide in Gaza is happening in response, supposedly, of October 7th. How was the lead up to October 7th literally not what you're describing? Restricting their access, penalizing them for their beliefs, penalizing them for believing that they as Arab Muslims deserve to live in a certain place. In what world, dude, you're sitting there and going like, make it illegal. And then if they what if they keep breaking the law? What if they respond to their identity being illegal with violence? You're not going to meet that with violence. You don't even recognize that in the name of some kind of like forward thinking, you think you're so progressive and you're going to get Islam out here. You've accidentally become Hitler.
First thing Hitler did was make it illegal to be one of the first things. It was illegal to be Jewish.
So disappointing.
Excuse me, what?
Wait, Unicorn. He said it was disappointing. Unicorn, did Hitler make it illegal to be Jewish? Yes or no?
What again?
Did Hitler make it illegal to be Jewish? Yes or no?
I don't think so.
Then you're an idiot, and I don't want to keep talking to you. We have other people on the line. It's up to Jimmy, but I don't need to talk to a xenophobic moron who doesn't even know that Hitler made it illegal to be Jewish.
He's going to go very pedantic. He didn't say technically, the law didn't technically say you may not be Jewish. It only said that you must be identified as Jewish, and then you are qualified to do things like be sent to camps and to be put into slums. And he's going to be extremely pedantic about it and basically turn into a Holocaust denial person because he wants a Holocaust-like thing to happen to Muslims. You're when right. You say you're disappointed,
he just imprisoned all.
Right. It was illegal. You couldn't get access to the same funds. You couldn't get access to the same society. That's just early on. Then you start getting put into slums and ghettos. And Unicorn, you think you're disappointed with us. Imagine my disappointment when an atheist, which when I see, I hope means that they are some type of skeptical thinking with a little bit of historical awareness, calls in and basically says, I don't want to commit genocide. I want to just do this instead. And they lay out genocide.
All right, okay, well, thank you for your time, and
you're so welcome. I hope you take the lesson today and learn how to become less of a bigoted monster and get away from thinking you are so superior to the oppressors that you allegedly have been fleeing, even as you advocate for their innocent children and family members to lose access to freedom if they continue believing in their religion. Do better, Unicorn. Goodbye. Disgusting.